Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. We just got to the conclusion of the Duke and Gonzaga game, which was really back and forth. We had a ton of lead changes, and we had two potential number one overall selections in Banchero and also Chet Holmgren. Huge matchup, Sheldon. I want you to break it down. Who was the most impressive player in this humongous heavy hitting fight?
Well, these are two different stories here. You're looking at Banchero for Duke, who is a pro scorer. The guy's going to come in. He's going to give you 18 to 22 a night as a rookie, standing at 6'10", playing off the wing. Very, very comfortable in the mid-range area. That's why he is going to be a potential number one overall pick, is his ability to score on all three levels, but specifically that mid-range area is what his bread and butter is, just with his ability to kind of break down a defender, work his way into there, and rise up over the top at 6'10". I liken him a lot to Jason Tatum. He's kind of got that part to his game. And then you have Chet Holmgren, who's kind of the ultimate glue guy in terms of his ability to make plays in all areas and all facets of the game. He's 7 feet tall, has a 7'6" wingspan. He's going to be able to block a ton of shots, blocking 3.5 currently for Gonzaga this year, averaging about 14 points, 8 rebounds a night. Just does it all for them. He's able to handle in transition, able to shoot the ball out on the perimeter, can finish around the rack as well. He's got some areas in his game where he has to develop yet, and he's going to be a development level player where he has to come in, put on some weight, get back into the gym, work on some of the elements of his game, whereas Banchero maybe doesn't have as high of a ceiling, but definitely is someone who's, I think, more pro-ready, at least at this point. And we saw that tonight. Banchero in the first half put up 20 points, only finished with 21 because he kind of got shook up in the second half a little bit, ended up not even finishing out certain parts of the game, ended up having a fewer amount of minutes than he should have really played had he been able to stay healthy all game long. But he looked better when both of them were on the floor. But Chet Holmgren as well, like I said earlier, some of that defensive upside with him. He can guard out in the perimeter with some good speed and athleticism, good quickness, and then also can react back around the rim. Is going to be a good shot blocker in the NBA. He needs to grow as a rim protector with some of that strength that we talked about. But at the end of the day, very, very good overall prospect. These two guys going to be the number one and number two overall pick in the class. I talked about that this summer after the last NBA draft, that those two guys are 1 and 2. It just comes down to what team's picking one. Are they looking more long-term upside, or are they looking for a scorer on the wing? That's really going to be the question mark come June.
Now, do you think with the NBA draft here and having these two prospects playing against each other, they're going to take this game into huge consideration, or is this just a little bit of the overall portfolio for a player?
Most of the time, one game is just part of the portfolio. However, when you get a real matchup between the top two guys, they do look at it. And I think this game is going to be a key part, especially if a team does opt to take Banchero number one overall over Chet Holmgren. There's one specific play that sticks out in my mind, Austin. You know exactly which one I'm talking about, where Banchero took him off the right wing, put his chest right into him, and finished right over Chet Holmgren in an and one style. That's going to be a big play. We're going to see that all over draft night coverage everywhere. Anywhere you're watching the NBA draft in June, you're going to see that play. That's going to be one of those key poster plays for Banchero on maybe a key reason why a team feels, hey, this guy's, got 50 pounds on him. He's, only 2 inches shorter, a better overall scorer currently coming into the league. We need some help on the wing potentially. If we're looking at a team picking number one, they usually always need help on the wing. Banchero going to probably be the number one pick at this point would be my guess, just based off of what I saw tonight and kind of what we've seen early on in the season. I love Chet Holmgren's upside. Like I said earlier, it depends on who gets the number one pick, but Banchero, that play, I think maybe comes down to how we saw them tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of this game, let's talk a little more in depth about it. Who are some other guys that really stood out to you? I know you had mentioned some during the game, but there were a couple of impressive guys outside of the two big dogs.
Yeah, there definitely were. And this is where we're going to talk a little bit more about Duke. Wendell Moore Jr. Has been impressive all year long, averaging over 15 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and shooting over 50% from the field this season. And he had more of that tonight. I believe he put up 17 points and was making plays in a lot of areas. And the biggest thing for him is his ability to attack closeouts and get to the rim and finish. He's got a very nice frame. He's going to fit right into the NBA with his ability to get to the rack. Now, I got questions about his ability to shoot the basketball and what some of those swing skills look like for him being a real top-end draft prospect. But at the end of the day, the guy can play. He's going to be able to come in, requisite athleticism and requisite strength to play that wing spot. And then also the center there, Mark Williams, made a lot of nice plays for Duke, which I think really set the tone early for them. He ended up with 5 blocks, 2 steals, 17 points, 10 rebounds as well. So he was making a ton of plays for Duke, and I think a real key aspect to the slow start for Gonzaga in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys make huge, huge impacts in that game. Still, I want to talk about Drew Timmy, another guy that's highly regarded in the mock draft community. So looking at Drew Timmy, what did you see, and is he really that draftable of a prospect in your eyes at this point in the first round, or do you think he's for sure solidified himself as a second round guy?
I've seen him as a second round guy. I thought it was very possible he would have came out last year, and I had him as a second round guy last year. I think tonight's an example of what you really see from Drew Timmy when you put him around NBA level caliber players and NBA athleticism. He's a very skill set oriented player. And if you look at his box score tonight, he didn't even play bad in terms of the actual stats. You know, he ended up in double figures for scoring. I believe he shot 7 of 13, maybe 7 of 14 from the field, which looks like a pretty solid overall night. But when you actually watch the game and you see him against guys who are a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more athletic, he just doesn't look the part. You know, he's a solid passer to the high post. And like I said earlier, a skill-oriented player. Next step for him is going to be able to step out to the three-point line because he's not going to be able to play the 5 in the NBA. He's going to have to play the 4. And at that level, you become nearly undraftable if you can't really stretch out to the three-point line in today's modern NBA. He's got a lot of areas where he needs to grow yet at this point. And then also Andrew Nemhart, I think another guy who is a big loser. He's coming off of a huge day against UCLA earlier this week. And I think a lot of people started to buy into his draft stock. I was not one of those people. I've seen him a lot at Florida, seen him last year at Gonzaga, and now this year as well. Very inconsistent. And I think even though he posted 11 assists tonight with 8.6 rebounds, he also had 6 turnovers with that. And then also, I think, a really clueless end to the game as well, where I believe he took off about 13 seconds of game clock trying to get them into something, just dealing with the basic 2-2-1 press that Coach K threw at them to slow down their advancing of the ball. Just really not a good look for me from Andrew Nemhart. I thought he should have had a better performance, especially at the end of that game when you're a point guard in college for one of the best teams. You need to be one of the smartest players on the floor, and I just had a lot of questions about that with some of his decision-making tonight, with how he moved the basketball and ultimately how the game ended.
Absolutely. And that's going to conclude our video. Let us know in the comment section below who you think the #1 overall pick should be. It was great to see both of these guys on display for this one. Also, let us know in the comment section below who you think will win the national championship. These are 2 big contenders moving forward. So we would like to thank you for all the support. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys in our next video.